Before I start the video, I have to let everyone know who's about to watch this that I currently have a 3.8 GPA in college and that I take education very seriously now that I'm older. So the reason I gave that disclaimer is because I am not necessarily proud to admit, but I want to be transparent about who I am on this channel, that I had a 1.6 GPA in high school. In fact, my goal was to get a D-, which was the bare minimum, in order to graduate. I didn't want a C, I didn't want a C+ or a C-. I wanted my D or my D- was my goal in order to graduate high school. This, of course, was a very, very stupid idea and a very, very poor idea on my part because it backfired. And it backfired really hard too. It was unfortunate. So I went to Anchor Bay High School and I was supposed to graduate in 2001, but I didn't graduate until 2004. And like I said, I'm not proud of this. This is just how it played out for me. So my freshman year of high school, I got a total of 5.5 credits out of a possible 6 credits. There was 2 semesters per year, and every semester you can get 3 credits total. So if you do the math properly, I managed to pass all my classes except for one of my classes where I got an E. In all my other classes, I maybe got a B one time, and I got C's and D's for the rest because I was trying to just get by on the bare minimum. I was kind of a burnout. I ran with kind of the freaky crowd of people, the ones who dress all in black in the lunchroom and sit in the corner and listen to heavy metal music. I had every single color of the rainbow hair. I painted my fingernails black. I wrote girl power in my backpack. I was quite socially awkward, but I found friends and solace with other freaks and weirdos that were more or less outcasted. I did manage to get along with anyone who paid me respect and was kind to me. And I was bullied by a couple people, but not very many people bullied me because I was kind. I was respectful. I didn't mess with anybody else. There wasn't really a reason to mess with me or harass me unless you were just a bully or you were full of testosterone and you thought that I was maybe gay or something like that. I've been called the F word quite a bit throughout high school. That was just common, I guess, in the 90s. That was just a common slur that people threw back and forth towards each other. It didn't really mean much to me. If anything, it was kind of hurtful that people were just angry at me or didn't like me for some reason. I wanted everyone to like me, which is of course impossible. You can't please everybody. Anyways, I digress, but it's kind of related because I even wanted all my teachers to like me. My goal was still to get my D- and get the heck out of the education system. So freshman year I got 5.5 credits and that was cool. My sophomore year I got 1/2 credit and failed the rest of my classes in my sophomore year of high school. That's right, folks. I failed all of my classes except for one, and the only class that I passed, the teacher only passed me because they pulled me aside at the end of the year and they said, I should not have done this, but I'm giving you a D- in this class because even though you slept in most of the classes, whenever you were awake, you did participate. It seemed like you actually got something out of this class. But I just don't want you to give up. I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to be able to get through this experience of high school. You're a very bright young man. You're going to do something one day, and you might not be motivated now, but I believe in you, and I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to do something. I don't want you to give up was more or less the message that Mr. Youngblood gave me. So Mr. Youngblood, if you're watching this, I really appreciate you. That talk did have a significant impact on me. Thank you very much. So after that year of high school, I reevaluated where I was at thanks to Mr. Youngblood, and I went to summer school. I went to night school. In my junior year, I went to night school and regular day school. I went to summer school again after my junior year. Then I went to night school and regular day school in my senior year, and I was supposed to graduate with an extra 1/2 credit if everything went well. And I was trying to keep an extra 1/2 credit there in case my goal of graduating with a D- went askew. And as you might imagine, that's exactly what happened. It kind of went askew. And it went askew in the strangest way possible. I had 6 classes throughout the day, and in the second half of the year was the second semester where you get 3 credits. So 6 credits for the whole year, 3 credits per semester, 6 classes in a day. Each class gives you 1/2 credit. And I was 1/2 credit over what I needed already because of summer school, night school. I was trying to give myself a little buffer room. And the 6-hour class, I had a math teacher. This particular math teacher, who I will remain nameless, was an easy target. I think this teacher got bullied. This particular teacher was very short, very, very wide, and had a very, very high-pitched nasally voice that people just made fun of all the time. They made fun of her appearance, how she sounded, and her height. Very short. I think she was below 5 feet tall, so I think she was 4'10" or 11. And she was so short that she couldn't write high enough on the blackboard, so she had a platform built for her that was wide enough for her to walk back and forth and write everything she needed down. And the poor lady, I feel sorry for her, even though she doesn't come out so good in this story. But I feel sorry for her in retrospect because she was just ridiculed and picked on so much by the students. And she was oblivious to a lot of this stuff because she was out of touch with the kids, completely out of touch with the kids. She took everything literally. She didn't understand sarcasm. A very, very unusual human being. For instance, to give you an idea of how strange she was, one day she wore a tie to class, which was kind of unusual in itself because she never wore ties. But this particular tie was a very interesting choice by her because she was very much, I think, religious and very, very PC, very, very right-wing leaning. And her tie was a South Park tie. It had the 4 kids, the 4 characters from South Park. Kenny, Stan, Cartman, Kyle. It had all 4 of those boys on there, right? She didn't know anything about it, and kids kept laughing and saying, "Nice tie." And I actually took the time aside and explained to her that tie and why she probably shouldn't wear it because it would not more or less align with her personal principles. She said, "I didn't know they used foul language on that show. Oh dear." And this was back when South Park was a new thing. It's 2001 when she wore it, so I think South Park was already out for a couple years at this point, but she was that out of touch. She didn't realize that this was a cartoon that used foul language and violence and shock value kind of entertainment. So I told her what the tie was all about, and then she stopped wearing it, and she thanked me for telling her that the tie she was wearing was not something she wanted to be representing. She was in my 6th hour class, which was the last class of the day. Hey, Lucy. Hey everyone, this is Lucy the cat. She's my manager here on the channel, and she decided that she wants to be part of the show here today. Say hi to everyone, Lucy. Lucy just got back from the vet the other day, and she's doing a lot better. She had an infection in her mouth, the antibiotics are taking care of it, and everything's gonna be A-okay. Anyways, back to the story. So I was in this math class, my 6th hour class for the second half of the year, and this one particular day, the students were giving her a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble. In fact, they were throwing things at her when she was writing things on the board. And when I say they, it was 2 kids in the class that were particularly mean to her and were bullies to other kids in the school too. They were just jerks. And no one wanted to tell on them because they were mean. They were very mean. So these 2 students were one-upping each other by throwing stuff at the teacher while she was writing, and she was getting progressively more and more frustrated. She had a lot of patience for who she was, but in this particular case, she was very upset by this. And as a result, she decided to hold the whole class after school as punishment because she didn't know who did it and no one wanted to tell on anyone else. No one wanted to rat anyone out, and she decided to dismiss us by rows. And she kept certain rows there, and I don't know how she did it. It was just kind of random. And my row was one of the 2 rows she would not let leave class. This kind of upset me quite a bit because A, school is officially out and it's time for me to leave. B, the buses were leaving. And then also, the kids in the back parking lot, they had a parking lot for the student body. I had a ride to get back home and I didn't want to miss that ride. And if I missed that ride and missed the bus, then I'd have to find some other way to go home. Keep in mind, this is the year 2001. None of us had cell phones. I'd have to find a way to like walk to a gas station, get a payphone, call someone, hopefully get an answer, or just hoof it all the way back home. And I didn't feel like doing that, especially considering that I didn't do anything to the teacher and it was just wrong for her to hold us all after class, I felt. I think that was very unfair. At the same time though, I felt really bad for her and I understand why she did what she did, but at the time, I'm just a kid in high school, so please bear with me with my decision I made. So my decision I made, I decided to get up and walk out of class, disobeying the teacher's orders for us to all sit there and wait for the buses to leave before she dismisses us. I didn't think this was fair for a lot of reasons. One of the big reasons was because I thought we were on a level, her and I, because I would take pity on her for the ill treatment people gave her, and I would even stick up for her from time to time, which didn't make me very popular with the bullies in class. And I told her about the tie and how she shouldn't wear it. I thought her and I were tight. I thought we were tight, but apparently not. And another reason I thought it was unfair was because I would sleep in my classes after I got all the work done for the day. So I had a motivation to get all my work done, participate in class, get all the work done, and it was okay if I put my head down after I got all my work done. She didn't mind. I would focus on my work and just take a nap, and that was it. That's how class went for me. So I would not give her any grief, and she knew better, and I knew better too, to not give this teacher any grief. I took pity on her. She blocked the door and said, "No, you go sit down, young man." Except she said it more nasally and higher pitched in her voice. And I said, "No, thank you, I'd rather go home." And I put my hands like this, and I squeezed between her and the door frame. Keep in mind, this lady was very, very wide. She was very heavy set. She was blocking the whole door, so I had to squeeze between her and the door. I had to make contact with her physically. And she put her hands on me and told me to go sit down. And I said, no, thank you, I'd rather go home. And I went like this with my arm to get her hand to come off me. And I proceeded to walk down the hall. And she said, you go down to the principal's office. And I said, no, thanks, I'd rather go home. And I went out to the back parking lot, and fortunately my friends were still waiting for me to give me a ride home. Well, this little decision of mine was not the best. This little decision I made to get up and leave class cost me a 10-day suspension from all of the school. My slick plan of getting my D- in classes really messed me over because I couldn't go to any of those classes due to this incident I had with the teacher, and I missed out on a couple of important exams, and it resulted in me falling behind 1.5 credits in all of my classes. My teachers told me there's nothing you can do. No matter what you do, you cannot get yourself above that D- mark. And we're very, very sorry. There's nothing we can do. Nothing you can do about it too. And this was, of course, as you might imagine, very defeating for me. I was working really hard catching up with all my classes, but still arrogant and cocky and stupid and stubborn enough to try to maintain my D- average. I don't know what I was trying to prove. I'm an idiot. I was an idiot. I still am an idiot, but I was more of an idiot back then to do such a stupid, stupid thing. Anyway, so I had my 10-day suspension, and I was under review for an expulsion from the school system entirely. So the teacher had to talk with the administrators, and they eventually came to a conclusion that I should not come to my 6-hour class anymore, and don't talk to the teacher, don't make eye contact with her, completely ignore her, she'll completely ignore me. And that was their solution. They listened to the teacher, but they did not listen to any of the students as far as what actually happened. The teacher's official story was that I physically put my hands on her and pushed her. She said that after I tried to shove her out of the way, that I picked her up and moved her, which does not make sense. There's no way I could have done that. And the administration knew that too. And in fact, I was pretty tight with some of the other people in the administration, and they told me that we have to take the teacher's word over the students. It's just how we function. It's part of the whole process here. And we know that you did not assault her. And that's the word she used. She used the word assault, and she claimed that I assaulted her physically. Unfortunately, she did not press any legal charges against me. And if she did, I don't think she can prove anything with all the witnesses, because I think the law would have handled it a little bit differently than the administration at Anchor Bay back in the day. So that really sucked, and I ended up not graduating on time. And in fact, the last 3 days of high school, I didn't even show up for school because I knew that there was nothing I could do to graduate. So I missed out on all of that whole situation of being in school for the last 3 days and celebrating and having fun with all of your classmates and all that sort of thing. I didn't have that. I didn't even go to the graduation or nothing like that. I just slept for 3 days, only waking up to hydrate and use the bathroom and maybe have a snack and go back to bed again, because I was depressed about it. I worked all throughout night school and summer school for the past 2 years, 2.5 years, trying to make up for my stupidity in my sophomore year. I was still arrogant and stubborn enough to try to get my D-, and it backfired on me. It was just a bad, bad, bad idea. So I messed around for a couple years after I didn't graduate high school on time. I got a job at a bar as a barback. I worked nighttime stock at a Kroger. That job in retrospect was very, very tedious and very boring, but it taught me self-discipline and the importance of hard work and the value of $1. That's absolutely for sure. I did not make a lot of money there, and when you don't make a lot of money, you have to find a way to make it stretch out quite a bit. So it was a good thing overall. But after a couple years of kicking around doing weird jobs in the service industry, stocking shelves, working in grocery marts, and yada yada yada, I decided it was time for me to go back and finish my high school education. So I went to Compass Point, which was an adult education program in New Baltimore at Anchor Bay School System, where I went. In 2004, I put in all my time and I graduated. I finally graduated. I got my proper high school diploma, which meant a lot to me to have it in my hands and looking at it. Graduating in 2004 instead of 2001. I didn't care what the date said on it. I was thrilled to actually have the piece of paper that said that I graduated high school instead of a GED or something like that. Not that there's any shame in getting a GED. A piece of paper of completion is a piece of paper of completion. You've been through the ringer, you did the work, you got the creds. Good on you. But after that, I decided to go working in the service industry at Dave & Buster's for a couple years, and that was good enough for a while. It was kind of cool just working on the weekends, making enough money to pay off all my rent. It was cool because working there, I remember making a couple $100s in tips every weekend and $5.15 an hour, which at that time was bad money. It was crappy money. But with those tips, it made it worthwhile. So my paycheck went in the bank, my cash went in my hand, I paid my rent with that cash, and I had spending money to get around town and do what I wanted to do, and I had a little bit of a savings as a result. So it was a very good job for me, but I knew I needed something more out of life. And I took a paid vacation to go down and visit my Uncle Don. My Uncle Don convinced me I should go to college, and I started going to college because he helped fund it to get me started, and then I learned how to apply for financial aid and Pell Grants. And then I discovered, because I went to college so much later than most other people did, I think it was because I was 25 at the time when I first started going to college, that I was eligible for more financial aid assistance than many of the younger students that was going. So not only did I get my college paid for with a federal Pell Grant, but they gave me $400 to sometimes $800 extra per semester to go to college. So I got paid to go to college to get my associate's degree. Pretty awesome stuff. A lot of people I know, they had to take out student loans. I was very fortunate because of my financial situation being below the poverty line. I was able to go to college, get my associate's degree with the federal Pell Grant, and have a little bit extra money for my gasoline, for food and lodging and so on. And that was a big blessing. I'm really happy I had the opportunity. And as a result, I got a 3.76 GPA when going to college, and I got my liberal arts associate's degree. So that's pretty cool. I haven't been able to use my degree for anything yet, and it's kind of a stepping stone for other degrees for a 4-year school. So the degree that I did get has all of the prerequisites necessary for many other 4-year degree programs. I didn't mess around when I was in college. I took my sciences, my math, humanities, English, all of those classes that are more or less necessary prerequisites for other degree programs. And I'm very happy that I did, because I ended up going back to school in fall of 2020 in order to satisfy the prerequisites for the Occupational Therapist Assistant program. And this is a degree I'm very much interested in getting, and I can't go back to school for it until fall of 2022 because I need to take the TEAS exam. TEAS. I need to take this test and pass it good enough so I can apply for the Occupational Therapist Assistant program for Macomb Community College. And you can only apply for it in January, and I missed the opportunity this January to take it because I wasn't adequately prepared enough and I had quite a bit going on. And I decided as a result to focus this year on my YouTube channel, on making a better quality stage show for the Renaissance Festival circuit, for making and producing music tracks. I've been wanting to be a musician and make music tracks for a long time, not only so I can use them in my own shows, but also just for general listening purposes. And other creative artistic endeavors as well. I thought that I would really take this year to level up as an artist and get better at promoting myself, post every day on YouTube, and so on and so forth. Oh, and I failed to mention this past semester I got another 4.0, which raised my GPA to something closer to a 3.8. So that's awesome. I graduated summa cum laude with honors. I'm very proud of that because throughout my whole entire academic career, throughout elementary school, middle school, and high school, I was never good at getting good grades. I had trouble focusing. I was diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, and I just felt like I wasn't smart. I didn't feel like I was good enough for school, and I was good enough to get my D- and get out, and that was good enough for me. So I guess my overall point of this whole video is do good in school, kids. And times are changing. Don't feel compelled that you have to take out a bunch of student loans and go to college and get your degree to be a doctor or a lawyer or some other thing that is maybe flooded. Check out the markets. Look at what the markets are. Look at what's projected to grow. I really think occupational therapy is a really, really good thing to get into. It's got a lot of potential for growth in the next 10 years or so, and that's why I picked it. Minimal amount of time invested, minimal amount of money invested, high growth opportunities in the future. It just looks like a really good profession for someone like me. I care about other people, I like helping other people, and I like the idea that I can help other people keep, maintain, and grow their abilities. And once again, for anyone out there who is really trying to figure out what they're doing with their life, really consider trades. Learn how to weld, learn how to code, learn something about networking, learn something in the tech industry. Consider the medical industry. Healthcare is a great thing. But more importantly than any one thing, really consider about diversifying your skill sets, because there's one thing we can all agree on is that none of us has a crystal ball, none of us can look into the future, and none of us really knows what's going to happen with the markets. So it's best to find as many different streams of income as you possibly can get in our society nowadays, because you never know when one of those streams of income is going to cut off or what change is going to bring. And that's all I got for you today, folks. Thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, please know that I post a lot. I post every single day, in fact, about many different things. Don't worry, I did us both a favor by organizing my playlist section. I've taken all the content I've created this year so far and I've organized everything into different playlists to make it easier for you to find content that I create that might pique your interest. Now, I post about way too many things, but one thing I do consistently on this channel is I post a weekly circus and flow arts tutorial So if you want to learn how to learn how to juggle balls, or even learn how to juggle clubs, or if you want to learn how to contact juggle like that thing David Bowie did in Labyrinth, click on my contact juggling tutorials link. Or if you want to learn how to spin things on your finger, we call this pediddling. You can do this with anything nice and flat, maybe like a server tray over there, or a book or a ring binder, or a flat pillow from your couch. That might work just fine too. Or you can even learn how to use the devil sticks. The devil sticks and I go way back. I was 12 when I first picked them up. I got proficient when I was 14. Really started playing around a lot with circus and flow arts props when I was 16. And it changed my life. It helped me learn more about coordination, my dexterity, and so on. The circus and flow arts are a wonderful way of getting exercise, of expressing your creativity, and of getting more confidence. So click on my Circus and Flow Arts Basics link in my playlist section, click on my Contact Juggling Tutorials link inside my playlist section, and click on any one of the other playlists in my playlist section, and hopefully something there is interesting enough for you. If you made it this far in my video, I applaud you. That's fantastic. There might be something I have to offer you in my other videos, and I hope you check them out. And it's time to let you go because I am very tired. I have to edit some videos before I can go to sleep and work a 16-hour shift tomorrow. So I'll leave you with this, folks, the way I've been ending all my videos lately, with these words. Remember to never give up. Do your best, stay true to you and who you are and what you stand for, and be amazing. Being amazing just means being the best version of yourself possible. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Have a beautiful night, and bye-bye.